Hey friends, in this video you're going to see an art review that I recently conducted with my email subscribers for our monthly Zoom subscriber call. In this call I asked subscribers to send art from their Surface Design portfolios to have reviewed by me and my artist friends, Sarah Berenson, Elizabeth Silver, and Stephanie Ryan. We reviewed artist pieces individually and as collections, and we talked about how they can improve them. If you are a surface designer or an illustrator interested in having your artwork reviewed by me, I offer coaching calls as well as 2 and 3 month coaching packages, and you can learn more in the link below. Also, join my email list, and you could do these subscriber calls with me too. Every month we do a call where we'll have tutorials and lessons, Q&As, interviews, all sorts of things. So join the email list below. I hope you enjoyed this art review video. Please leave a comment below and like and share. Thanks so much for watching.
Okay, so tell us, Cindy, tell us about this.
It's actually from a membership. They have like the 365 days prom, and I just choose ice cream, and I start drawing like all kinds of like ice cream that I like, and then the shapes. And then for the champagne, the hero one, I keep the sketch look for the sketch lines, and yeah, and then just play with the layout.
This is cute. This is cute. So you're just kind of, you just thought about different ice creams and sweets and things that you could draw. These are fun. What would you say is your main pattern in this collection? Is there one?
The hero, I think champagne and the bottom one.
I would say the bottom one for sure. Yeah. And how do you draw? Are you using the iPad? Are you using, I'm curious how you make this.
Yeah, in Procreate.
Got it. Yeah.
But then I bring
lines.
it to Illustrator to vectorize them.
Yeah, I like the line work is really nice. Really nice. Where do you see, like if you were going to pitch this, where would you pitch this to?
I actually wanted to focus on stationery industry recently. Because I don't think I want to go for like a big collection. This is probably like the second biggest I have created so far, with like 6 or 5 pattern pieces. But recently I have been just creating one standoff pattern or illustration, and didn't go with the and yeah, no blender or coordinate, and I'm thinking stationery. That would be my main focus.
Right. Okay, great. Stationery. So yeah, so no blender. I see where you're going with this. I really love the parfait sprinkles. I just think that's so cute. And the s'mores buttercup. I love the line work on that. They're really nice. All right, Sarah or Stephanie or Elizabeth, anybody have any comments, initial comments?
I think it's really, really cute, and I agree with you that the hero pattern, I think, is the frozen pop at the bottom with all the elements. So I'd like to see that one maybe a little larger, and just so you get all the details of it. And I would say, like, if you want to focus on stationery when you mock this up, to give it some variety, like pull out some of the icons, like the parfait or the ice cream, and maybe make that the cover of one of your little stationery notebooks, and then put like the parfait sprinkles around the border. I would just say, to get more leverage out of this, they always like to see things that aren't always just all over patterns, but pull out some of the icons and see how they can be used in different ways. Like, for example, if you did a line of paper tableware, that would be very cute for this. Have like the popsicle in the middle of a plate, an ice cream in the middle of the plate, and then put these little stripes around the edges of it. So just think of different ways you can kind of deconstruct all these patterns for different products.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
love that. I love that, Sarah. I think that's
Mhm.
that's exactly what I was thinking too, is like, if you're thinking about stationery, look at stationery products and see that often, yeah, it isn't always a pattern. There can be, just large icons and there can be illustrations. And so you have all the elements, you're like, you have the pieces. So it's just thinking about the layouts that make the most sense for stationery. And sometimes it helps. In fact, I was just doing this earlier for something, is like, start to mock it up onto a few pieces and then realize, oh, okay, like I actually need something, like I need a little ditzy if it's going to go along the border of a like post-it note or something like that, right? So as you start to mock it up, you realize what you might need and what makes the most sense, rather than just like putting a pattern in every section and
Yes.
thinking about it. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we need to mute yourselves. Okay, I'm
Um,
muting. Okay. I'm muting.
But yeah,
It-
really cute work.
Yeah, it's cute, isn't it? My one thing, my one thing that I notice is color, and I feel like the beige is not screaming summer. It's just not screaming summer to me. So, and the colors are very muted, which is actually really interesting. I think that's a really interesting take on it. But I think that Champagne Neapolitan, I think I know where you're going with it, because it does look like if you mixed all three colors together, like strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla, you get that color, right? And I totally see that. But it's just not, it's a little flat. So I would bump that up to something else, and not, maybe it's the brown that you have in the parfait sprinkles. It's kind of like it looks like the cake or something that's in there. Or the ice cream, I'm not sure. But anyway, so whatever that color is, it's just a little warmer. I want to see something warmer. I think it's a little too cool for the rest of the collection. So I'd warm that up, or even make it brighter, if you see that too. But you do have like a brownish color. It's even in the Frozen Pop. Maybe you bring that out, or a lighter version of that. Or it's the waffle cone color that you have at the bottom, that might work. I'm not sure. You might have to tweak the colors overall, because there's a lot of yellows in there too that I don't see on the other ones. So make sure you are using the same colors throughout, or maybe you are using it actually. Yeah, I see it in parfait sprinkles. So I would just do some color switch ups on that. But I think for me, it's that one background color that my eye keeps going to. That also might look better in a half drop. Right now it's very linear. I feel like maybe the scales could change, like maybe some are bigger, some are smaller, and you just half drop it. Because right now it's just stripes. And I feel like I'm not seeing the details of some of the ice creams that I would like to see more of. So maybe think about that too, like how you can vary the scales of each, some small, some big, and half drop them even more. So, okay. And to make that color change, that's just the one that stands out to me that I feel like just needs a little bit more work. I really love the other ones though. And I'd love to see Frozen Pop in that position where Champagne Neapolitan is. I want to see that one like front and center.
Okay.
Anybody else have any comments? It can be anyone. I'd love to hear from the group too, if anyone like to to comment on it.
I feel like everything that you guys touched on, all the great points. I would love to see Frozen Pop a lot bigger, and maybe a little bit of contrast with the scale. Maybe some pieces are bigger and some are smaller. And then with the color as well, like I love the parfait sprinkles. I love the contrast in that, and I love the different colors. But I feel like maybe if you started off with, however many colors there are, start off with your palette at the top so that you know exactly what colors you're going to work with, and then start playing around with putting those colors into the different pieces and see what happens. Because I feel like right now it's just a little bit disconnected. Like I feel like it's not holding together cohesively as a collection. And then also, I think
Oh, you mean
Elizabeth,
color wise, or do you mean how?
yes,
Just
color wise. I feel like if the colors were, it was a concentrated, color collection, and those colors were used throughout, that it would hold together a little bit better as a collection. And then I totally agree with Elizabeth that once you go down the road of doing mock-ups, a lot of things can change. So if you guys haven't started doing that yet, like make it a part of your practice just to see what happens as you start developing in mock-ups for different products. Like see how that kind of tweaks your brain and you start going down different roads and getting different ideas. Like don't be in such a rush to get your collection finished so that you can, get it over with and start presenting it. Like really start playing with your practice and see what happens.
Great advice. Great
Can I add
advice.
to something? So
Mhm.
Stephanie's right, because it has two colorways, and then I mixed the two colorways into one page, and then I also have been working on some of like parfait and strawberry shortcake. I worked on it individually, and the Frozen Pop too for like another challenge that I entered. So I didn't go back into like make all the colors match like with the, let's say like for s'mores buttercup and the champagne Napoleon. So yeah, so I would definitely work on the colors. And I also like to ask the question that I submitted in the email, like would I be ready to like pitch to an art agency?
Oh, no, an agency or to a company to submit for the
Like,
artwork? You want an agent? Is that what you're saying?
yeah, and yeah, I'm looking
We
for.
need to see, I need to see more of your work. Well, I'll have to, it's hard to tell you from just one piece right now. So I think we're just going to work on collections today
Okay.
and just work on your artwork. But you and I can talk about that separately if you like, because
Okay,
that's a bigger question, and I need to look at all your work that we talked about. How much work you have is a lot. There's a lot we got to go over, so we can't really do that here today.
Well,
That's
the
okay.
email I sent you pretty much have all the work I have, like with
Okay.
the pages
Okay.
that you sent, that you see. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Anything that's not related to just reviewing artwork today, will like, because people ask me about their business names and setting up their LLC and, working with agents. All these other questions are great, but today we're just going to do art reviews, if that's okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. All right. And you have one more piece I do want to go over this one because I thought this was really lovely. It's sweet, isn't it? I see Elizabeth nodding. Yeah. Yeah, it's really sweet. So I think you nailed it with this one. My biggest thing is that when you have faces or you have animals or something, I don't want to see the back of the head. I want to see them. I want to see how cute they are, right? So maybe you need a different pose because they're all going the same way. So we need a different pose for the owls. So maybe it's forward facing, or it could be forward facing and sleeping. I don't know, but they're not sleeping at night, right? So that doesn't make sense. Maybe they're forward facing and I don't know, just find another pose. But I think the side and the front might be enough. But it's the same exact one. I could tell that you just changed the face. So you need to mix that up a little bit more. But it's very sweet and it's really cute and I love the colors. I think you did a great job in this one. I don't have a lot to say other than that. Anybody have anything else?
No, I love the colors. They're so soothing. They make it like feel really good. And I totally agree about the owls. Like there's an opportunity there to really make a statement with the owls, but
Yeah.
it feels really good. Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, this one's great. I think you knocked this one out. So there is one thing though, I do want to mention that when you do pointy things, when you draw things that come to a point, you draw things that stick out. I can't see the Skyline Mirage, zoomed out. So I'm not sure what those like branches are going to look like. But every now and then when you do pointy things, they can look kind of funky and weird. So you might want to zoom in and out and in and out to make sure that those points and where they land and everything looks organic and it looks nice and it doesn't just look like they're just sticking out, right? So, and sometimes you'll see what I mean when you start making more pointy things. And also like, I love how you put the cloud at the bottom on the top one. To kind of, so you don't see the end popping out. It's masked with the cloud in front of it. So it's always a nice way to do that too. If you have like something sticking out, you can tuck it behind something. I think this is going to be fine because it looks really organic and the way that it's drawn. It's not because, you know, if they were all sticking this way and that way, or if they're just more linear, then it would, your eye would follow along with it. It would look kind of weird. But because they're kind of tossed and organically flowing, I can't find the word for them, but I think it's going to be fine. But just zoom in and out on it to make sure it doesn't look like, it doesn't look weird. But I don't think this will, the way you drew it, the lines are really delicate, thin and thick, and I think it's going to be great. But that's just a tip going forward. I think that's too pointy, or it's just kind of floating in space and it's pointy and it's not tucked behind something like the stem of a flower or something like that. You might want to think about, you know, how that looks. It might not look right. But this one's good. You did a great job. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much. So this one is a little different. I don't know if Diana's here. Diana Sprouls, are you here?
Here.
Oh, okay, great. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so you have a bunch of single patterns. You don't have collections yet, right? So this will be,
Right.
Okay, so this is good. I wanted to do this so, you know, people can see what that looks like when you're still working on your pattern collections or you're still kind of designing from the beginning. So let me get these
In
up.
the beginning.
In the
Yeah.
beginning, yes. All right, so here we are. So go ahead and I'm just gonna flip through these since they're now on one page, which is my fault. I should have asked people to do that, or I should have done that. You can kind of see them on the sidebar here too. So talk to me about you know, what you told, actually tell everybody what you told me about where you're at, what you sent.
Sure. I am still, I feel like in the beginning stages. I mean, I've
Mhm.
done a fair amount of different kinds of images, but I don't think that only until recently did I really start thinking about, as I was playing around with images and trying to perfecting Illustrator,
Mhm.
that I should have been maybe thinking about what I was designing in terms of collections. So I feel like most of the things that I've done are like all main images as opposed to those that could be put into collections together.
Now, are
So
these in repeat? They look like they are.
yeah, most of them probably
Oh,
are.
okay.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'd love to have seen the repeat pattern and not just the tile. 'Cause it's
Oh, okay.
a little hard to see, you know, what, like this one, for instance, like what this looks like repeated over and over again. I like we could see the details though. That is helpful.
Right.
Yeah, I think when you are presenting, definitely show the pattern and not the tile, so we could see more of it. Yeah, but I know something about this one I really like. I keep going to it. I see. So where do you find right now that you need help with the most?
I don't know. I guess just really kind of guidance on how to go about establishing a collection. So do I
Mhm.
start with one main piece and then branch out from that with like colors and, you know, like the document that you sent that had like the blender and the secondaries and all that other stuff.
Mhm.
Thinking about how to kind of piece some things together is it's just, it's a little difficult for me right now because I'm just kind of slowly getting into it. And I
Mhm.
have no clue about, and I, plus I don't think that I'm at the point where I should be even thinking about pitching or anything like that. I can't figure out how to pull a story together that has to do with any of the pieces that I'm doing. And I think I really need to be thinking about the scale. So I don't know. I guess just suggestions across the board about, you know, the best way to go.
Mhm.
And I keep putting on the chat, I put on there a couple times, how do you do a mock-up? What's that about?
Okay, that will be. I'll come later. I think we have a bit. Oh, okay. Elizabeth put some of her blog posts. Is that a blog post for me or
Yeah.
what did you
It has
share?
a video. It has a video in it, but yeah, it's a blog post.
Okay.
So it's about you check it out later if you want to, but it's just a, you know, because I know a lot of, like, I love collections. Janetta loves collections, you know, like I think many of us who have been doing this for a long time work in collections, and you know, I have a whole process. I'm sure we all have a whole process of kind of how we build a collection, but I do know a lot of people just like yourself who have started with we're just experimenting, we're trying it out, we're doing what's fun. And so this this video, I kind of talk about how to take what you have and then add a couple more things. And it goes through some sort of brainstorming of like, what are the motifs and like, what are the themes? What are the colors that you're using? What is the style or technique that you're using? So it kind of takes you through some of those steps and like looking at what you have and then building a little bit more. But I think in general, a collection is always going to sort of, if you start from the beginning, like if you're starting of like, I'm going to design something new and I want to design a collection, then you're thinking about, you know, usually you're going to probably be thinking about theme first. So what is it going to be? Flowers? Is it going to be a certain type of flowers? Is it going to be, you know, it looks like you have, you know, a lot of abstract and organic kind of themes here, right? I saw you have some fish too. So it's like, if it's ocean, is it going to be, you know, like certain types of fish, like seaweeds, bubble, like, you know, you're starting by making a list of all the things that kind of go together in a certain theme that you're thinking. And then you can kind of build from there of like, okay, well, if I know, you know, fish, bubbles, underwater, waves, seaweed, then maybe I'm going to do you know, one print that's fish, one print that has seaweed and a couple little fish, but not, it's mostly about the seaweed, you know. Then you can kind of think about a few different things that you can take from that list that you build, and that's how you can get started. Okay. Sorry, that was a lot.
No, you're absolutely right.
Tired yet?
No, you're right. I know. It's so much time. That's why I have you guys here. I don't do all the talking. You guys have great ideas. No, that's exactly how you do it. You got to make lists. Like, okay, I want to do like, yeah, the ocean theme. What goes in the ocean? Start writing the things out. Well, I'd love to draw that. That would be fun. And then you can kind of mix and match them and put a story together. Or if they're, you know, that you have a personal story too, you can even, you know, infuse that. Stephanie, how do you do that sometimes?
Usually I'll start with whatever painting I have on my table, and if I like it, then I just kind of go from there with it. But for this, like I know how overwhelming it can be when you are just getting started and you have all of these different patterns and you're not really sure what to do with it. And then you're like, well, do I start over? Like, do I take it step by step? So I'm wondering if just as an exercise, just to play, take, you know, maybe pick maybe 4 or 5 of your favorites here. Maybe just stick to the florals. The fish, I feel like are definitely something different. And then pick a color palette, like pick, you know, maybe 5 colors or 8 colors and make a decision on your color palette, and then apply that color palette to those 5 different patterns that you picked. And then when that's all there, it will feel more cohesive. And then start playing around with scale and see what scale does. And then maybe you will start to see, okay, I have this big scale. Let me make this other one a small scale. Well, and then that will lead you to other things. Like, just look at it as a big experimentation without having to make a perfect collection at first. And then maybe it'll start training your mind to start seeing where things work and where things don't. Because I don't think you should put so much pressure on yourself right from the get-go of making like a perfect collection. Like, start getting used to what it feels like to play with the color, play with the scale, you know, moving your pieces around with and getting more contrast. Like, just stay in this like really fun space of exploration and don't put so much pressure on yourself.
Appreciate that.
Awesome answer. That is like the perfect answer for you. I think you're at a place right now where you're still experimenting, you're still learning, right? So I wouldn't focus on the end result right now, because you have to go on a journey to get there. So, so that journey is exactly that. You need to keep working on, oh, okay, how do I make a pattern, like just the one, or maybe it's maybe 2 or 3 that actually make sense that go with it. No, you don't need a big collection right now. You really just kind of like work in mini collections. I think that would be a great way to go. Take a few of these, recolor them, pair them up together, mix and match them. Oh, do they make sense? How, you know, when they are in the color family, especially look at 2 or 3 here. You could pull together, you know, and kind of see, you know, like I think this one already has like kind of an oceanic vibe that's happening a little bit. This one feels a little holiday to me, or a little, but in the different color, it might feel different, right? And this one, really like this one. I think it's the transparencies that I really love, and the little trails of flowers. So you have a lot of florals that are happening right now. Maybe you just pick some of the ones that look more floral-esque and recolor those. And then maybe those 3, and like she said, and then just start to play with scale and then add on. So it's like layering. You're mixing and matching them, and then you're pulling them together, and then with color, and then maybe you're trying to balance the scale so they all look like they go together in a family. But the scale has to vary for all of them. And then the scales within the collection, within the, like right here, like these red flowers, you could vary the scales on those. And you have a little bit here, but I think you definitely tighten up the spaces. And like I said, these little trailing off ends, like do they meet up together, or do they get masked by a leaf? Or, you know, now that point, then once you start to see that happen and see what's happening, then you could start to make those little tweaks and things. But I think it's really just playing, experimenting more, and not making a bunch of patterns right now. Really just take these, you have a lot of stuff to start with. Go in here, grab a couple of these, and just start now, like improving on them and learning about, you know, what they can do and how far they can push them, and also how you can make them cohesive at the same time. I think that's a really great experiment for you right now. I wouldn't keep, because I think what happens in the beginning, people just make patterns, they keep making, and they have all this stuff, and then they're like, I don't know what to do with it, right?
Yeah.
It's like, how do I sort all through all this stuff? And I in my coaching, that's what I do. I'll like go through your portfolio. I'm like, okay, we're just going to work on this part right here, and let's just make this as best as it can be. And then now you can rinse and repeat and go back and grab all the other things, and now start to, you know, see what you can do with them. So I think you're at that place now where it's like, okay, let's do that. Let's just kind of grab a few that you like and that you think might look good together, and then just move forward from there. Okay. Does that make sense? Anyone else have anything to say? Yeah, I totally hear you. In the beginning, it is overwhelming, and I think it also deters people from like moving forward, because they just don't. They're doing all the things, but then it's like, what's my next step? What's my next step? I have made all this art. I don't know what to do. So the next step is to now get tighter and go in and start to really make something happen, make something fun happen. And it is still about having fun with this. You're not making a full collection right now. Still, you're still just going, there's phases, there's steps you have to go through. But I think once you get to the next step, then you'll have so many discoveries that, you know, I think it'll just keep leading you forward. Sound good? Yeah. Okay. Do you have any other questions?
No, just the mock-ups and all. Just
Oh,
kidding.
no, don't worry about that now. You're not there yet. Let's get some like things you really love going, and then we could, you know, talk about putting them on, you know, on mock-ups, you know, however you see them mocked up.
Yeah.
Okay. But, you know, you do think about that too, as you're seeing things emerging and as these patterns are getting better and better, then you know, think about that, like, oh, where would I love to see this in the world? You know, what would it be applied to? And then that will lead you to the next thing too, right? So if you get excited about, I don't know, seeing it on, you know, dinnerware, then yeah, go ahead and like start researching dinnerware, and like think about like, oh, okay, how can I design this on dinnerware? And that will be the next phase. But you got to make the patterns and get them kind of nailed down before we get there. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got it. Thank you.
Mhm.
And anyone else? Okay. All right. Thanks, Diana.
Mhm.
Okay, I am going to and I just want to check in with the group. How's everybody doing? You could put it in the chat, or you could just unmute yourself. anybody have any questions about what we're doing so far, or learning anything, or comments? Everybody's so quiet today, so I just want to check in on everybody and see if we're going too fast, or if there's some clarity you need on something. Are we good? Yeah. You're all good? Okay. Oh, Val said she's feeling FOMO. Hilarious. All right, doing great. Val, I've worked with you. We're good. You're good. Okay, let's see. All right, Jasmine, are you here? Miss
Yes, I'm
Jasmine.
here.
All right, Jasmine, I have and thanks, by the way, I don't know if Sarah's still here, but thanks so much for your input, Stephanie and Elizabeth. And Sarah, if you're here, I don't think she popped away.
I'm still here.
Oh, you're
Yeah.
okay. Thanks, guys. Yeah, you've been awesome. Like, you think all of our brains together is just gonna be, it's been perfect. Like, because I can't think of all these things. So you guys are on it. All right, Jasmine. I had time to pull your stuff into one page because it was a lot of you had given me lots of stuff. So I wanted to put it all together. So you're going to see what I did with yours. So you had this really lovely collection. Alrighty. Okay. Can you see? I'm going to zoom in and out. Okay. So can you talk to us about this collection?
So yes, so the one blue at the top is a flower that I planted in my house maybe a year and a half before it finally blew. So I was super excited. I took pictures of it in many different ways. And to me, I think it's like a morning glory, and it's resilient in the winter time. And well, I'm in Houston, and apparently it was in the winter when it finally blew in our Houston, Texas winter,
it's
which is
beautiful.
warm. But so I thought about the crocus flower because it's also another resilient. I think the name that I wanted to give to this collection was resilience, right? But yeah, all the flowers were I painted them using the Pixel Persona in Affinity Designer. Is what I've been using a lot lately. I kind of like this style that has a lot of shading. I do a lot of watercolor, but when I take it into Illustrator to vectorize it, I was initially taught to just limited the colors, and I don't really like how it turns out. So I'm kind of rethinking that strategy. But this one was a collection that I thought would look nice on fabric, home decor, and bedding and things like that. Yeah, and the thing is, I created the top 4 first, and then the bottom 2, which are the those kind of blender style. I struggle with coming up with what to do for the
Right.
blender, and I think you can tell that the top few I spend a little bit more time and focus on dedication, but the blenders, it's hard for me to kind of come up with something that yeah, that on this one my challenge was that, like, how do I make those blenders to look a little bit more elegant? And I think the top 4 look elegant versus the other 2.
These
So
are
I
just some
think
other images you
it's a
sent
lot of
me. Yeah, so this is the bottom 2 here is this one and this one.
yes, correct.
So yeah, these 2. And then how did you create these? Are these watercolor that you
No,
brought
it's
into?
I use one of my favorite gouache brushes in Affinity Designer using
use
the
Affinity.
Pixel Persona. They have Pixel brushes, and I use a gouache brush that I love. So that's all of it is that, yes.
Okay, and then you put it in Affinity and made the repeat.
Yeah, this specific collection, I made it in Affinity Designer. Yes.
And then let me just show you, this is her mock-up for fabric.
This mock-up is from Creatzy. I bought a whole kit of fabric and home decor from Creatzy, and that's what I've been using to try to also post on different places like Instagram and and add to my portfolio as well. So
Mhm. All right. Stephanie and Sarah do a lot of fabric, so I want to talk to you guys. Initial thoughts.
Yeah, I think it's really pretty. I can tell that you worked on the top four first, the ones you mentioned. And I like how they kind of have, like, they feel kind of like they're a nod to vintage with those ornamental frames around the flowers. Like, I like how you've added that detail in, but the colors are really bright. So I think it makes it feel fresh. I would say for the coordinates, the tiny ones that you said you were struggling with, I struggle with those all the time too. It's like you run out of ideas for little coordinates. But it seems to me when I look at them close up that they are maybe painted with a different program, or they just don't have like the same level of depth that the other ones do. Like it almost looks like those green leaves are just painted differently. So I would find a way, and you already said this, to tie those in more. I think they just need to be tweaked a little bit, but I think you have a good sense of color and scale and all of those things. I'd like to see the main pattern on the top left bigger, just because I think it's so pretty. And I think it's like your hero print, the one with the dark background. So I would just like to see that one just a little, just give it a little more space when you're presenting it so you can just see more of it. But overall, I think it looks really, really pretty. And I can totally picture her fabric.
Mhm. Yeah, and here's the mock-up, which is really nice. Stephanie, any thoughts? You're the flower girl.
I agree with Sarah. I think that it looks really nice. I think it's really strong on the mock-up. I think the scale feels a lot better there. Whereas I would definitely adjust it on the other piece and have those blender prints be really, true to scale.
Mhm.
And then this is just like a little nitpicky thing, but for the top right pattern, I would play with your
I'm sorry, on
stems
this one?
on the very to the left.
Yes, this one. Okay.
Yeah, I would
Which is
just play
the
with your
repeat.
stems. Yes.
Mhm.
I would maybe mirror some of the stems because they're all pointing in the same direction. I would
yes.
reflect them
Yeah.
so that some are pointing one way and some are pointing the other. No, I think it looks great. I think it's a really nice cohesive collection.
Mhm. Yes, I agree. I like the vibrant purples. I think they're really beautiful. I would work on this one some more. I just feel like this one feels like it was just done quickly and because you didn't know what to do, and then you added these flowers in over here. So I could tell, like, you repeated the same motif. And that's easy to do when you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, and I'm done with this, So I challenge you to change either the motif in here or it's fine here. Take this one out, tighten this one up, because I mean, you could see even the brushwork and everything on here compared to the level of detail that you have and everything else that you've done. It looks like two different people drew it. You know what I mean? So I really want this to be, I want I mean, imagine, these little, I guess it's like trail of leaves or whatever, really at the detail how you've done these. Okay. So make them more realistic, a little more realistic, a little more, not as fuzzy, clean them up. I would challenge you on that if I were working with you. I'd be like, we're scrapping this, we're starting over. If you want to do this linear pattern, that's fine. But I just want to see it. I want to see it shine. And right now it looks like a sketch is what it looks like to me. So
yeah, I totally agree with Janetta. That's what I was trying to say earlier too. It's like, I love the idea of doing a stripe. Like, I think you could just keep that same layout and everything, but just repaint the green leaves so that they match the leaves at the top, or just live in the same family and look like the same person painted it. Like, this one just looks a little fuzzy and unfinished, exactly what Janetta said. But I like the idea of having a stripe in here. I think
yeah,
that
you need a
works well.
stripe. You need a linear pattern for sure. This one, I think, is the same leaf, right? So you just took
It's the
it.
same.
Oh yeah. So I see what you did here. You just like, I'll take the same elements and mix and match, right? So yeah, so because you have such a high level of 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 illustration here and really beautiful, beautiful design. I want the whole thing to feel cohesive. Right now, it feels like these are unfinished and these are done. So take that same level and pull it all the way through. Okay. It doesn't have to be like, detailed. These ones could be simpler. Absolutely, it should be. But yeah, don't, you know what I'm talking about. Like, just don't sketch them. I want to see them a little tighter. Okay.
Yeah.
They don't have to be, beautifully rendered or anything, but I just want them to be more less sketchy. Change the flower. Colors are great. I wouldn't even mess with the colors.
Yeah, that was one of the questions that I had. It's like, I love blue, and I think I have a blue colorway in almost all of my
Oh,
my
really?
little collections, but I don't know. Maybe it's not so popular, or I don't know.
No, I think this is fine. What do you guys think about the color? Anyone who wants to chime in? I think the colors are great.
I think right now that blue is very popular. I'm seeing it in the stores, so I think you're right
Oh.
on with this color.
Great. Yeah, it's pretty. And the flowers are just stunning. So, yeah, I agree about the stems, flipping them, because yeah, they're all going the same way. So you do want to rotate those every now and then. Lattice. So I'm seeing you using the same techniques over. So you have toss, a big toss, a tighter toss, a lattice, two kinds of lattices, a stripe, and a half drop. So I think those are pretty common. I see those all the time when people are making pattern collections: lattices, stripes, tosses, half drop. So, and I think that's a good formula. I would challenge you to come up with one other one too, because I did look at your other things too, and there was kind of that formula.
Same formula, yes.
Yes.
So which one? Sorry, can you repeat what you?
I would just come outside of those 5 things and find another solution. Because there are a million ways to make patterns, and I mean that's something I definitely want to talk about in the future with everyone, because I do see, especially people who are just starting, and you just kind of make tosses. I'll do a stripe. I'll do a dot, polka dotted style. Which I would think that would be like kind of like the last one in here, which is like the polka dot, which is the one thing over and over again. So it's easy to kind of do that, but there are a lot of ways outside of the lattice and the stripe and the toss, right, to solve this. So yeah, really look at other patterns, go to Spoonflower, look around and just look at, fabric sites, wherever you see pattern, and, and you research pattern, and just really pay attention to the different ways that you can make a pattern. It does not have to be in this composition all the time. Okay. And you can add, and because looks like you only have 1 or 2 things in all of your patterns. I challenge you to add another element in here too. So it doesn't just have to be this one flower over and over and over and over again. You might want to mix 2 flowers together, or, or maybe little tiny little flowers and with bigger flowers. Or different kinds of leaves and stems and things. So think about mixing and matching motifs. A pattern on a pattern always looks kind of cool. There's ways, pattern in pattern. There's lots of ways to solve the composition. So I think for you, because your stuff is so ornate, it does work really well in the simplistic form. Because if it was too many details, it might be a little hard to balance that. But I would, because I think you have a grasp of this, because I've seen the rest of your work, that I think that you could go a little further. So I think you're ready. So so this one is, I feel like, is you just have to make those changes to those 2, and actually those 3 that we mentioned. And if you have any ideas for a blender, it doesn't have to be like, a rendered floral. So research that, challenge yourself, think about what that could look like. It could be a tiny little ditzy. It could be something a little more abstract. But it's still in the floral world. It could be geometric, with like a geometric pattern made out of leaves. Like, think about what that could be. Okay, so but I think you're ready for the next step on this. And this is good. It's beautiful. So I think you just need these little like last changes. But it's really close. And you beautiful work. Beautiful work. Yeah, and I think Affinity is working for you. So I would stay with it if you like it. Do you like it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I bring it over to Illustrator sometimes.
Mhm. I
Just to
would,
make
keep
an
this
extra copy.
quality of painting line work as much as you can though, because this is really unique and it's your signature thing. So I'd love for you to, because I know when it goes into Illustrator, you're going to lose it. So any way that you could bring it into, if you do bring it into Illustrator, find a way to keep the integrity of your painting as much as possible. Or just, find a way to make it look cool in Illustrator is what I'm saying. Because it's hard to do. It's hard to do.
Yeah.
But it's great. Good job. Anyone else have anything else to say?
Mhm.
We good? Yeah, the blues are beautiful. They're vibrant. Purple, and that purple you paired it with is just, the violet is gorgeous. So awesome. Good stuff. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Karen, hi.
Hi.
Hi. So yeah, tell us about your I have lazy summer days that you sent and painted cutouts and this one, does this have a name? I didn't see a name on this one. That's okay. Well, anyway, this is what we're gonna talk about as much as this as we have time for. So I want to start here. But please talk to us, say nice to meet you, by the way. Thanks.
Well, I'm in the immersion class with Bonnie.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always been an illustrator and I license a bunch of work in the past, but I had to switch gears and do graphic design because I couldn't live on the royalties because I had to support my family, and now
Absolutely.
I'm going back. Yeah. So I asked you a question. I have a ton of illustrations that I wanted to ask you, like, can I recycle those into patterns?
Absolutely, 100%.
But I just
yeah.
Yeah, I just
that was my answer, my
created
initial answer.
Yeah. So this collection is I was thinking about the days of summer of like my youth, when you get out of school and you're like 11 and you have all these days ahead of you, and just that easy summery feeling. So that's this.
Do you draw in Illustrator mostly? Is that your
Yeah.
method?
Mhm. Right.
You draw
I'll like
before
sketch
you
things
bring
out.
it in? Yeah, okay. Do you
Yeah,
line
I'll
trace it
sketch
or?
things out.
Okay.
No, I just draw.
Oh, okay.
And then I also have a Wacom pad,
Mhm.
and I'm really good with the pen tool. Pulling out
Mhm.
vectors and things, I'm really good with the pen tool.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, the colors are really fun. They're very summery. Though beige, again, I don't know. Beige in the summer, is that like skin tone, suntan? Is it
Like copper tone.
sand? Copper tone.
Copper
Okay,
tone.
that's my only thing. I don't know about beige in the summer unless you're really showing it on skin or on the beach in the sand. Right now,
Okay.
because you have birds flying against skin tone. So I just want you to think about that a little bit. Like, do you want them? Yeah, I would, that's the only color, and it's not used anywhere else in here. So I feel like if you take that color out, it will make a difference. And yeah, I don't know if it's on white. I'm not sure, but I would remove that color because you're not using
That's
it
easy.
anywhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, that's easy to remove.
Right. Where do you see this collection? What do you see it on?
I was thinking of well, the hero, I was thinking that could go on stationery or paper plates, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I,
Are they
you
the
know,
same scale? Are they like are those the two main they're the exact same scale. So do you see the first one as the main pattern and the second one as this
yeah.
second coordinate, second main coordinate or whatever? Okay.
I have to admit, that second one I kind of threw in there because I wanted a second pattern. And looking at it now, I'm kind of thinking that doesn't even go with this collection.
Why, what makes you say that?
Really. I don't know, just because I guess I don't know, just because everything else is kind of the vector drawn with the pen, and this one is more of you know, with the Wacom pad. I don't know.
I mean, it's drawn the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're just so similar. They're the same scale. They're both the same tightness of, they're both like closer. All the motifs are closer together. So to me, they're like almost the same. So I would like to see them different in some way, whether it's scale, color. You minimize the colors on the second one. Your main one will have all the colors in it. So the next one can have one less color, two less colors. So, and then the scale has to be bigger on the main one. So that would be an easy fix
Yeah.
if you want to leave it in there. I think that because, you know, butterflies make sense, flowers, sand dollars, like you have all the summery things in there because you don't have as many summery things in the secondary coordinates. But in the main coordinates they're all summery, and then the rest of them they're not screaming summer, I would say, right? Because they're a lot more abstract. So that kind of tells the story a little bit more by leaving. If you remove it, then it's still there. But I think that one really just, you know, it hits home a little bit more. But I don't know. It's up to you if you want to leave it or not, or change it completely. You could change it
Well, I would
completely.
change the colors, the brown.
Okay.
Keep that, yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. Anybody have anything they want to comment on?
I just agree with Janetta. I would change the brown color in the background, maybe to like a blue or something, so it looks like they're flying on it. I don't know, it would just tie it in more, but yeah, I agree with everything you said. And I think the second one totally fits in the collection. It is drawn in a very similar style, and I would definitely leave that one in. I think it's interesting, just play with the colors.
I love your art when you don't outline it. I don't know. Maybe it's just it's a personal taste of mine, but I find like outlines I don't know, for me, I feel like they have to be done a certain way, or sometimes they can look really dated, or it can look very cartoony, like a different style, just a completely like a different commercial style, I should say. And I feel like I love that center one with the flowers, with the pattern. It's basically a pattern on pattern. So you have the dots behind it and you have the floral like little flower on top. I think that's just the sweetest. I love that so much. And I think you solved that one beautifully. And it doesn't have any outlines, and maybe that's why my eye is going towards it, because I think it's done really well. And when I see that next to the second one, they don't go together in style, color. I think it's also because it has more. Let me zoom in if I can. I don't know if they'll let me. Yeah, it's just something about the layering on it too. Like you have everything's layered going back. There's depth. There's a lot of good things going on here. There's depth, there's pattern. The pattern on pattern creates the depth. The colors are balanced pretty well. Even though they are similar, they're not competing. There's not a lot of high contrast, but I think it works. I think if the dots were brighter, they could be bumped up just a little bit, but and they could be a little lighter, but not really. I think it's really good. The thing is, like, if you look at here, there's different styles happening. So I feel like this definitely goes with these. This definitely goes with these. But this one, doesn't it? I don't know if you guys see this. It just feels different. And it might be
The one in
This
the
middle
middle?
one feels
Well,
very
that
different.
actually was, that actually goes with, I have another collection that's Caribbean,
Oh,
that's the Caribbean style. And
that's what I'm picking up. Okay.
yeah, I have a
Okay.
whole Caribbean, I have so many patterns, and I'm in the same boat as the second woman that had all the patterns. So what I decided to do was just make 100 squares. So every time I make a pattern, I throw it into this document so I can see all of the patterns that I've made. And then I just start picking them. I'm kind of cheating. I pick
No, it's a
them
great idea.
and then I put them together. So I kind of thought this one would go. I colored it to match these colors. I really love the hero print, and I don't know if you can see it, the one on the top, my top. I love the background, how there's like white and
Yes.
white outline. Are you were talking about?
I do too. I do too.
I like that.
Yes, I think,
So
see, and
there's-
that makes it a hero. That's when you have all the layering happening, you have all the colors, all the energy is in that main piece. And I'm big on adding texture behind the motifs, or adding something behind it to like just give that depth and keep, so it's just every time you look at it, you see something new, right?
Right.
I think you've done a great job with that. And then you simplified it for the next one, which I think is really smart. Again, scale's the same. We just got to tweak the scale and the colors. This one feels very Caribbean to me. That's what it is. Versus this feels like, it doesn't feel Caribbean. It feels like a different place. So, maybe, it doesn't feel Caribbean.
Oh, I just wanted to say,
like it,
what I was thinking of with this is I like to do wrapping paper. I make a lot of wrapping paper. When I make a design, I'll order wrapping paper just because I like to see it on something, and it's cheap and it looks really good. And then I give it away.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I love the idea that you're taking all of your patterns and you're just dropping them into documents so you can mix and match them. Because I actually I'm in the process of doing something like that myself, because I have a lot of single patterns and I need to pull them together or add a coordinate or two to them. And so they just, have more context. And I like that idea of actually making a doc and just pop, pop, pop. Yeah, because if you do have so much stuff, it's hard to sort through it all. It really is. And then you could see it all in one place and you know what you have. So I think you're doing the right thing. I like your blender. Your secondary patterns are cute. This feels really summery. This feels really summery. This feels kind of spring. This is a little, I'm not sure. Is that just a leaf over and over again, right? So
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's
That's
fine. It's fine. I think paired with this, it's fine. Yeah, I mean, it goes together. And I like this one. I'm always big. I like abstract thrown in there. I think like these are really
that was
cute.
from my Caribbean collection too.
So these two go together. I
Yeah.
want to see this Caribbean collection. You got my interest peaked here. I wonder if they need to go with the Caribbean collection. I would love maybe.
I can always put them with the Caribbean collection.
Can you email me that? Because I gotta see it. Okay, all right, I gotta see it. If you want to keep this together, then I think you solved it through color and scale and pattern. These are similar to, just everything is a little similar in scale. And so, I think you could tighten up the spaces in here a little bit more. I'm just getting nitpicky. But I think my eyes go right to this bowl right here. So like this, and this is going the same direction. This is going the same direction. So definitely like move them around, keep moving around until they kind of fit like a puzzle. Especially if you have the same motif over and over again. I would even, and another great trick is when you have the same motif over and over again, is to recolor, make them like 2 or 3 different colors, solid colors, and overlap them and change the scale and have them so it's like you tossed them up in the air and they all fell down in a pile together. That's kind of the idea. So that'll be really tight and there'll be different colors, and they could be 2 different colors on top, and you wouldn't even know the way it's treated and the way you arranged it, that it's the same pattern. It's the same motif over and over again if you do it right. So you can so find ways to play around with it, if that makes sense. So it's just not this one thing over and over, tossed over and over. There's so many little tricks you can do to take one motif and make it look different. Okay, so it doesn't it's just, and I like it in a 2 colorway, but if you want to like just play around with it, you could do a lot more, especially in Illustrator, because you have transparencies that you can use. You can
Mhm.
add a pattern into it. So you can have pattern. One is full of like little tiny dots, and the other one is a solid color, and the other one's a different color. And then you can kind of just toss them all up and lay them on top of each other. There's just a lot of fun things you can do with one motif. So
Right.
I challenge you to do that too, because I think you can do that. And yeah, I see stripes again. I see stripes, tosses, and half drops. So I really want to challenge. I think this is going to have to be my next class or something. Let's break everybody out of the toss and the stripe world, because I think there's so many things that is like hasn't been explored yet, right? So I love that this one, your red abstract. I think that's really, really fun. I just love that it has a lot of energy and it matches the first piece a lot. And I think it's great. But if it's part of a Caribbean collection, I want to see that too. Because it might fit better somewhere else. But I don't know, I think it works here too. I think you probably have a lot of stuff to mix and
I
match.
have
So
so much
it could be
stuff.
really fun. Yeah, and so it might not even matter. Like, if you found it works better here, then it probably does.
I wanted to ask
But
you, I noticed
yeah.
in your in the bonus module of Bonnie's class where you're showing how to make a pattern, but you don't do a repeat, you just do like a clipping mask.
Mhm.
And I'm wondering, do you do that like so that you can work really fast and then go back and make a repeat out of that?
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly what I was showing you. I was so for anybody who doesn't know, in Bonnie Christine's immersion class, I have 3 lessons, and one of them is how to work on your compositions. And this one I'm showing you in Illustrator. I have a bunch of motifs, and I show you different ways to arrange them and make compositions out of them. And what I basically do is I just have like a background color and a square, a rectangle, and I bring them onto it. And then I scale them, I move them around, and I show you different ways that they can be laid out. And what I do is I basically just mask that, and then that's the repeat. And then yeah, you don't have to make the full repeat every time. And sometimes the client's not going to need it. Sometimes you're just going to drop it into a template anyway, right, Sarah? Like, you don't have to make. So it's called an implied repeat or a fake repeat. I've heard a lot of different terms for it. And I would say a lot of, I don't know if Stephanie, are you still here?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah. Do you do fake repeats, or do you repeat everything
That's
you make?
all I ever did for
Okay,
forever
got it.
until this past year. I did fake repeats. Yeah.
Okay.
The only thing that it did limit me a little bit, and I didn't realize that it limited me in when I was doing mock-ups.
Oh yes.
Because it was harder for me to do it. And now that I am kind of working on putting things in repeat, it does make the collection a lot easier to put together. But yeah, there's no rule that says it has to be in repeat.
Wow. So
Right.
okay, so could you do a fake repeat for your collection, like when in your portfolio? You could?
100%. Yeah, I think that's what we're saying.
Oh
We
my
all do it.
gosh.
I don't
Yeah,
think anything is in full repeat. I think like a
I've
third of the
had
portfolio is.
I think I've had 26 licensed collections for fabric, and I didn't put any of them into repeat. The manufacturer put them in repeat.
Gosh. Wait a second. So if someone purchases one of your, I'm going to call them fake repeats, then do you go back in and then you fix it so that it is a repeat before you
No.
send it off to the client?
Sometimes, if they need it.
If the manufacturer comes back to me and says, can you put this in repeat, then absolutely. Like, I'll figure it out. I'll put it in repeat. But most of the time they just do it themselves.
Whoa. Oh my
For
really
me,
God.
great.
I work mostly in like stationery, and I've been doing a lot of table linens and things like that. So I just have a template. So I just make it repeat in the template. Sometimes I just build the repeat like manually in there, or if it's easier, I'll make the repeat. And then I'll just drop it in. But sometimes if it's like a little complicated, then I'll just literally manually put it into the template. So I really don't have to do it very often. I would say yes, if you're doing fabric for sure, anything that has to be on repeat. But if you're doing like journals, stationery, that kind of stuff, it's all templated, right? So you're just gonna, they're gonna give you the size and you're just gonna drop it in. So there's only so many things that you're gonna really need to, you know, put it on repeat for. It's only so many things. It's not everything, that's for sure. What about you, Sarah? I know you do a lot of bedding and stuff.
Yeah, so same exact thing. I don't really put anything in repeat up front. Like I'll do a faux repeat, fake it out, because my stuff is watercolor, has a lot of layers, and like unless someone for sure is gonna want it in repeat, I don't like to waste my time doing that.
Exactly.
You guys.
I guess it's
But
blowing your mind.
Yeah, I've been
So
spending
funny.
so much time like, oh
Oh
my
yeah,
God.
no.
yeah, no, you don't have to do that up front. And yeah, a lot of times the manufacturer will do it. Sometimes they'll ask if you can do it. It's a combination of both, but exactly what everyone else said, I don't do it up front.
Wow, I
Just a
love
lot of
Yeah,
work.
keep it moving. Just keep it moving. Like
Yeah.
make it, get it to where you feel good with it, and you know, but know that you have to repeat that in the future if it, you know, if you're asked to. So,
Yeah,
or I guess you could always hire somebody if you really can't figure it out. Like
No, I
give it
can
to somebody
figure
who
it
could do it
out.
for you.
I can
Mhm.
totally figure it out, but it just slows me down.
Yes, absolutely.
And then
It's
I
a,
wanted
it
to,
is a drag.
yeah, I wanted to, because then it doesn't work and you got to go back and fix it. Well, I wanted to ask you, when you're doing your mock-ups, like you said, you're putting your composition on your mock-up, are you doing like a flat mock-up of like a template, or are you doing one of those photorealistic mock-ups in like Photoshop or something?
It's kind of however you want to do it, right? Like if you feel more comfortable finding a photo that you want to drop your artwork on top of, and then go for it. If you want to draw it and actually make it, you know, in your own style and draw it, like so you draw the chair and then you put the fabric on it, you know, you could do that too. So it's really up to you. I know, Stephanie, you do a lot of photo ones, right?
Yeah, I do the photo
yeah.
ones, just because I'm like obsessed with them. It's so much fun to do.
Yeah.
And it really kind of helps to tell the story. One thing I should say is that if you're creating art and you're selling it outright to different companies, then I feel like they should probably be in repeat. So if you're selling to like the fabric industry or something like that, and you're selling it without licensing it, that it's probably good practice for that to be in repeat. What do you
Right.
think, Janetta?
If you're selling it outright, yeah. Well, I don't know. Actually, well, yeah, that's true. I did work with I worked with a company years ago who they're like a big firm, and they're pattern studio basically, and then they have like, you know, 1 million artists, and we just submit a bunch of patterns to them, and then they, you know, sell them to the marketplace and you get a cutback. So I was doing that for a while, and I think everything we did had to be repeat. So because it's getting sold to, you know, to somebody immediately, and they need to take it and do what they need to do with it. Not everybody works that way though. Sometimes it's like once they sell it, they're going to change the colors, they're going to change everything about it anyway. So some people don't really care so much, but I think, yeah, it's a good practice. I think it will definitely be less headaches if it's getting
man.
sold to somebody. But if you're licensing or you're just putting it in your portfolio right now, don't spend all that time on trying to get the technical down. Like it could just, you know, just make it look exactly how you want it, mask it, and just keep it moving.
Oh, I love that. Oh my God.
Okay. Yeah, just keep it moving. Because you're only gonna get like half as much work done if you do that.
Yeah.
And then they're all perfectly ready to go. And then what if you don't license them or sell them for a long time, and then you spend all that time? You could have used that time making more art, right?
Thank you.
So yeah, don't but what I'm saying, I've seen in the chat here, yes, manufacturers can do the repeat for you. Not all of them do. They're all different. They all work differently. I would say a lot of the people I work do not do it, but I know that these are friends here. They definitely have worked with companies that do, and I know some fabric companies will do it for you. And then someone also asked if there's a tutorial on fake repeats. No, I can put one together. I can kind of redo what I did for Bonnie if anyone wants to see that, but I'll just do it in a different way. But really what it is, if you're an illustrator, you're just going to arrange it just how she has it right here, and you would just mask it so it's not in full repeat. And right now it isn't repeating, so that would be fine. I mean, they get the idea. Excuse me, same thing in Photoshop. You would just arrange it the way you would repeat it, and then you would mask it out just and crop it down, or just crop it to the edges of where you want it, and then that's it. And that goes in your portfolio.
Also with Photoshop now, they have the pattern preview,
oh, I love
which
it.
makes it so easy to put things into repeat. And that's
So
why
much
I've been
faster.
starting. That's why I put
Uh-huh.
things in repeat now. It's only because a pattern preview makes it so easy.
I agree with you. I've
Yeah.
found that same thing. Yeah, because I work in Photoshop too. I know Sarah does too. So pattern preview is a game changer. Wow.
Oh my gosh,
it's a
yeah.
big one.
It's
You put
so
it on the
fun.
edge and it wraps it right around the other side. There's no math involved. I don't like math. I don't want to do
Mhm.
it. And so it puts it, you just where you put it, it wraps it around. You put it and you move it to the top, it wraps it around the bottom, then you can fill in the middle. And then that's your swatch. It's
Yeah,
done.
and
So-
layering, it makes layering so much easier. And then doing
Mhm.
complex patterns and
Yeah.
like uneven like kind of patterns, like it just makes everything so much easier. Love it.
Absolutely. And Illustrator has those features too. So you can use the pattern, I don't know what it's called in there, but it's the pattern maker, I think it is, or something like that. And if you haven't used that, look that up, and you can do automatic patterns in Illustrator as well. So it's just a mode, you turn it on, and then it gives you a lot of options for like a hexagon shape, triangle, and it's like different hexagons. You could do it in a square, all the different things, half drop, 3/4 drop. It does all of that for you. So I wouldn't like rely on that though, because I think you really do need to know how to do it by hand yourself. But if you need to, just bring it in there and make it happen, then you can tweak it and get it right. But I think it's helpful to know what you're doing before you have the computer do it for you. And then you could aid the computer even better because you know what you want it to look like. So I don't always tell people to go there and just make patterns right away, because you got to learn how to do it, and then you can go there and work it. But I do encourage you to go play around with it and see, because it gives you ideas too. So, okay. I know we're getting into, oh yeah, we're gonna get into that second hour. I just want to talk about one of your other ones that I did ask for 1 to 3. This one's really cute. Is this another mix and match that you pulled together?
No, this one I made for, again, wrapping paper, and I thought it could go on like paper goods if I
Mhm.
pulled out some of the motifs. I kind of threw in that neutral on the bottom because I thought, oh, I need a neutral. But looking at it now, I don't think it really
Yep.
go.
It's
It
not
needs a
helping.
different color. Yeah, I'm
Different
like,
color. I'd love to see that confetti. So like use different color. You could do it in like 2 colors, which I think would be nice and quiet. And then I also love to see
Yeah.
that in a confetti spot. I like confetti, you know what I mean? Like all different colors in there. It'd be really
yeah,
cute.
okay.
Yeah, your abstracts are really fun. Yeah. And I like that. You see, this is pattern and pattern. So there's a pattern that make inside the shape that's in the pattern.
I
This
painted
is
the
your
whole,
overlapping.
I
Yeah,
painted
they
the
look
whole
hand painted.
paper. Yeah, I painted
Oh.
it, and then I scanned it in, and then I did clipping masks.
Yeah, it's really nice. Yep, good stuff.
I
So
like the flower design. Oh, and the heart too.
I like this
for
one.
stage. I love that one. That's
I love it.
that's really great wrapping paper.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really
That would be
cute.
fun to get.
Yeah.
Remind me of cupcakes. Yeah, I think you did a great job with this one. I think I like this. You varies in scale, it varies in color, backgrounds. You do have black in here, but you're not using black anywhere else.
I don't use black. I just do, I make kind of a black, but I don't use strictly black. It's like dark.
Okay, it's like a rich black.
Yeah.
I like this deep purple. I don't know if that would work here instead of black. Just if
Okay.
you want to make it more cohesive, because you just have black in 2 places, and black is a really
Yeah.
strong color, or this rich black. So think about that too. If you do use this as a collection,
Okay.
how, I feel like that one in the gray is like the odd colors in this one. So
Yeah.
maybe find a different way to do that. You have other colors you're not using, so maybe you can bring that in. And yeah, these are really, this is a lot of energy in this. I love it. Love it. And then you're varying, and this is another thing, it's good. You have your bigger scale, your secondary scale, and then scales get smaller. You did this right. And then also you have a linear pattern. You have things that are tighter, you things that are looser, and you have, these are more, I would say, these are just more of like almost like a stripe in a way. It's like a way to solve a stripe. It's very, it's not even like a polka dot because it's not a half drop. So it's what I consider it to be more of a stripe. Yeah, it's like a grid. And this one is too. And it's done in 2 colors. So you simplify the colors as you went down, you just change the scale throughout. Background colors are varying, and you have also just a varying, they're tight, some are tight, some are loose. So you have a little bit more breathing room and your eye can rest. It's really important that your eye can rest because you don't want everything to be chaotic. So that's why you simplify the colors. And also they just coordinate better if you mix and match them. So I think you solved this really well. I think it's really great. I would just rethink that black a little bit. If you do want it, keep it in there, find other places to pop it in here and there so it makes sense. And yeah, and this could even work in a lot of colors. Like I could see this in like pinks and purples. I could see this really like just even like little girl colors. I could see it done in a lot of different ways. It would change, the color would change the feeling a lot. So it's great. It's great. All right. So, all right. Thank you so much. Those are great questions. Thank you guys. Anyone else have anything to say or comment?
I would say for the bottom left pattern, the blue, I would maybe play around with like not having it so grid-like, like maybe alternate the rows so that's more of like a polka dot and not a straight up grid, because you have the same layout going on in the middle circle pattern too. So it's just like circles in a grid, then more circles in a grid. So I could sort of play around with that to see how that could be a little yet less uniform. And another thing that I always get asked when I'm doing fabric collections is to make things non-directional. So just something to keep in mind, like maybe in the butterflies, some of them could flip sideways or upside down, just so when you're viewing the fabric and sewing with it, you can like use it from any angle. Maybe some of the hearts can be tossed around differently too. I'm not saying to remake this pattern, but just when you're designing for like something like fabric, they do like a lot of things that can be non-directional. So you can use them, view them from all angles, and they look good.
Okay, yeah.
I like that. It's a great tip. I always forget about that because I don't do fabric. So yeah, definitely. Do you do multi-directional, Stephanie? A four-way pattern? Okay.
Yeah, I'll mix it up. Some of them I don't, some of them I do. And yeah, I think the only thing that I would say about it is that I love this center one, the circles with that ivory background. I love the feeling of that. The hero pattern, I would make sure that has that ivory background behind it instead of the white. I think that'll calm it down a little bit.
Okay.
And then I would try to make a very big difference between the scale of your hero and those hearts. I think those hearts can be smaller.
Okay.
For sure. And then I love Janetta's idea about the confetti. I think that would make the collection a lot more fun.
Yeah.
And removing that dark black would help too. And then I'm torn about the bottom right one with that's just line work. I feel like it doesn't go so much with it.
I was wondering about that too. I think
that's in my tribal collection actually.
It feels tribal.
It feels more tribal.
I'm just like picking because I wanted to put together a collection. So yeah, okay. I don't think that goes either.
You might not need it. You might not.
Yeah, I don't think you need it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It doesn't have to be an equal number. You can have 7. It's fine because I mean, it depends on what you're going to pitch it for, right? So,
what would you pitch this for?
All right, let's open that up to the group. What would you guys pitch this for? Anyone on the chat, or you want to unmute yourself? I'd love to hear ideas. Paper goods.
I would say paper plates, or paper tableware, fabric.
Gift
It looks
bags.
very fun. Yeah, like gift bags and anything that has to do with like party supplies. Like it's just really fun.
I was
Mhm.
thinking of the hearts could be like a garland or something.
Yeah, but I don't know where you would, where do you get a licensing deal for a garland?
Oh, yeah. Well,
I'm not sure about that one.
there is garland.
Paper for sure. All things paper, whether it's gift,
Yeah.
stationery, and even napkins. So
Oh, yeah.
like, you know, companies that make the cocktail napkins, I think that would be really fun. Like summer cocktail napkins, gift bags, gift wrap. This is very strong for gift bags, gift wrap,
Yeah.
paper plates, and stationery. Like I could see this on, you know, the cover of a journal. And yeah, all things stationery.
Okay.
Anything else? Yeah, that's what they said. Gift bags and stationery, paper goods. That's what you got in the chat too. School, did you mean school supplies, Val? Like back to school or, okay. Yeah, like a backpack. Like for kids, I definitely see this for kids. It's really
Mhm.
sweet. Yeah, journals. Yeah, good stuff. All right, thank you. Thanks so much.
Welcome.
All right, and we have one more, and then if anyone has any questions right now, feel free to ask while I pull up the next person. Metka, are you here? I don't know if you're here.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, did I say your name right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so let's start with this one. Tell us about this.
Well, it was a trend
Okay.
a few years ago, so I did it. I recolored it actually to more blues and pinks color. These are butterfly wings, if you can see. Yeah. So yeah, that's it.
What did you see this for? When you were
For fabric.
Yeah. Yeah. And this one's fun. Does it go with any of the other ones, or is this a standalone that you sent me?
No, that's the standalone.
Okay, it's a standalone. Okay, so as a standalone, would you like to leave it as a standalone, or do you see this as a mini collection or a larger collection?
Mini collection.
Okay, so like maybe 2 more pieces with it.
Yeah.
Knits or
Yeah.
something. Okay. Do you mostly do patterns, or do you do placement?
Yeah, I do. No, I do patterns.
Okay. Okay. Because actually we didn't talk about that today. Placement, pulling out, making graphics, placement graphics, like Sarah mentioned, like taking the icons out, putting them, mocking them up on in front of a journal or in front of a pillow, or however you see, you know, the stationery set, however you see those icons standing alone. It does give you a lot more, I feel, a little bit more like leverage with your collections when you do have more options outside of pattern. Depending on, you know, the clients that you're sending them to, for sure. But if you are, you know, going for stationery and things like that, that does help. So I think it depends on where you want to go with this. Like, do you want to just keep it in the pattern world? All right, so help me out. A 3-piece pattern collection. Who would you pitch that to? Anybody have ideas? Or
fabric companies.
Yeah. What about Sarah or anyone else? Stephanie? Like if you have a 3-piece pattern collection, if she's gonna take this into a mini collection, who would she send this to? Because I think this will help
you would definitely need more for like quilting fabrics. They're gonna want more for sure.
Exactly.
And I feel like if you're gonna take the time to put it into 3, then put some blenders in there and you know have a bigger collection for for fabric companies. But I guess with
Mhm.
3, you can send them to companies that do fashion,
Mhm.
maybe?
Okay.
Mhm, mhm. Bathing
Yeah.
suits, yeah, things
Yeah.
like that. Absolutely. Yep.
Okay.
But I think
Um,
it's a great pattern, and I want to see more from it.
I do too. I do too.
And I love the colors so much. Like I would love to see where you could take it.
Okay.
Mhm. So now this is like part of what we were saying before for Diana is to like the process that you need to create for. So
Mhm.
you have this first pattern. Where do we go from here? I don't know what to do. So now you have to start brainstorming. Like I think 2 ways you can get out of this is where do I think about where am I going to send it? That can help guide you into what the next patterns look like. Or so where am I pitching it to, or what products do I see this going on? Then you can start to design your coordinates based on that. Excuse me, I'm just drinking too much water. So do you want to design for paper plates and napkins and things like that? And a 3-piece set would be perfect for that, right? So it's like you have a border, you have the edge of the cup, you have the napkin, you have, all of it. So you can start to see what those coordinates will look like when you're designing for
But
those
do you
specific
see
things.
that pattern for the stationery, or is more for
Yeah,
fabric?
I do, but
Yeah.
I need to see
Okay.
more. I need to see more
Yeah. Okay.
because
Okay.
it's like the first idea in
Mhm.
the collection, right? So it's like, so now you get to tell the story. So it's like, okay, so let me think this through. Like, what product is it going on? That can help me determine what my next move will be. Or also you can think about the theme. Like, do I want to break this theme out a little bit more? Do I want it? And like Sarah said before, like, is it going to be beach, or is it going to be summer, or is it going to be all about moths and butterflies and things that fly? This is where you need to make these decisions. And you don't have to like just do one thing. Like you can explore a few things at this time and sketch. I would start just sketching and researching and looking at thinking about lists and ideas before you, unless you're like inspired to start drawing and painting, then do that. Whatever you're feeling the most inspired by, just do it. If you want to research and think about a little bit more, do that. If you want to start painting and sketching, do that. But you do have to decide like where it's going at this point. And yeah, is it going to be more abstracted? Because this is very abstracted. So do you want to stay in the abstract world? So these things you have to just explore, investigate, sketch, draw, and then start to see where it makes sense as you're moving forward. You don't have to decide right now, but you do have to like kind of give yourself a direction so then you can work towards that. And then if it's not working, you're like, oh, I thought this would be really great with it, to be abstracts, but I don't like the abstracts I'm making. And maybe try something else. Like, oh, maybe I'll just do the moths and butterfly theme and then just start making more moths and butterflies. But I find for me, it's more instinctual if I just kind of go with like how I'm feeling and like what I would like to draw next and what I think would look cool with this. But if you're not sure, then you might have to just be a little bit more and just have a little bit more clarity around like where you want it to go. And just kind of investigate that. But you don't have to just, pick one. Okay, I notice people when they start and they're like, I has to be this. And then and I can't solve it, it's not looking right, and the moths and butterflies are ugly, and it's not work. Then you know what? That's okay. It doesn't have to be about moths and butterflies. If you really don't force it, if it's not working,
Okay.
then shift to a different theme or a different idea. Or just step away from it and come back with a clearer head later. And then you might just be thinking about something completely different. Like, oh, now I see what I could do with this. But you have to give yourself that exploration time and give yourself like, just do all those things, because don't get too rigid right now. That's what I don't want you to do, because then you'll get too fixated, and then if it doesn't work out, then you're going to be frustrated. And then I think that's where people give up, and that's where I see people give up. So that's probably might not be the right solution. So just investigate different things. Okay. But yeah, this could go in a lot of directions. It's a great piece. You could do a lot with this.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it is in there, like that you could pull ideas just from this print itself. Like I feel like, the easy thing would be to make complete butterflies. Have them all on one page and have them be different scales. Like some are really big, some are really small. And then you can even go in here and see the details in your wings where you have like the little scallop edges in white on that black
Yeah, I
background.
love that.
Like that could be a pattern, doing little scallops. Or on another wing, you have little blue lines with black outlines on it. Like that could be a really cute stripe. So I feel like, and then you have a lot of tick marks, like little black tick marks. Like it could be, you know, a blue background with a bunch of little tick marks all going in different directions. So I
Absolutely.
feel like there's a lot in this print itself that can be pulled out and made into a collection.
Mhm. There you go. And there's another way to do it.
Okay.
I work that way too. So I kind of go in and I kind of dissect it a little bit. And I'm like, what's happening in here? What can I be informed by that I've already done that will lead to the next thing? So I really love those little black, like just like you said, little tick marks and like scrubby little marks in there. Like maybe I make like a blobby pattern, that's my abstract. And then maybe that could just be 2 colors and it could be really simple. And so I'm now moving in that direction. And then how can I take more information and do the next thing and the next thing? So yeah, so go in and definitely find those things in here that you can pull out and make into something else. Because butterflies, anything, what I like to do is like, I love birds, I love wings, I love butterflies, anything in nature that has this natural, organic, beautiful textures in there. You can just study those alone and you can find a bunch of ideas just in the wings or in the patterns and the on the you know on the animal itself. So because there's so many beautiful abstract things happening. So yeah, there's a lot here. It's pretty fertile ground. So just in the abstract world alone, you got a lot of information. Okay, I'm gonna move on.
Okay.
Something I think. Let's see. All right, this is very different. This is really super freaking cute, by the way. You do different styles and you're very versatile and you have a lot of skills. So I love that. I love that you can, because you've been doing this for a minute, I guess. I don't know if you've told everybody your story, but so and I like that. I like that you can, you can kind of dabble in different
Yeah.
just different categories. So I love this. Is
This
this
was
a
meant for
standalone?
wrapping. Yeah,
Wrapping
it's a
paper.
standalone. It was meant for wrapping paper, so
Mhm. Yeah, your animals are adorable, just adorable. And I love the drawing style and I like the texture in it. I really don't have any notes for this one. I think it's really great. The only thing I see is that there's a little bit of spacing issue. And I
yeah,
probably,
yeah.
because this leaf is longer, I'm sure that's
Mm-hmm.
probably that. So when that happens, you might have to just make this, the scale of that, just like squeeze it down just a little bit so you
Mm-hmm.
can get that channel to close up a little bit more. Or if you want to add something in that row, like little leaves or little dots or little Christmas ornaments or something, you could add that here and there. Like, you could find ways. If you find like there's this weird gap, then you got to either work with the gap or you got to close the gap. So, find a way to do one or the other. But it's just super cute. I'd love to see more of your animals, actually. I'd love to see this in a fuller collection. This could get a lot of, I think you can get a deal with this as is, but I think it would be even stronger if you broke it out into more for a lot more. You could do so much with this. You could even take those individual icons out, put words with them. You can make cards out of them. You can put them on the front of a journal. This could go on a stationery set. This could be Christmas bags, Christmas gift wrap. It could be tissue paper. It could be the cup plate napkins that we're talking about. This could go for, this could be a blanket, sheets. It could be a lot of stuff, right? So it's very, very, very versatile. Anybody have any comments on this one? With products they see it on, if anything that how she should expand it?
I would play around with completing the characters, give them little bodies.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Do some central images where it's just maybe the characters by themselves with some words underneath, season's greetings, Merry Christmas.
Yep.
Yeah, and then all the little icons can can be developed, and I think you could probably develop a little bit more too. I think it could be a big collection.
I do too. I see this as being a huge collection. I mean, I could see this on dinnerware for like, or like trinket dishes and like
Yeah.
gift stuff. Like really blow, this could be a, you could blow this out. Sorry, I'm sorry, guys. You could blow this out and get these gift companies. 100%. They could make little things out of the characters as well. So from like ornaments or like little, just little, like the little knick-knacky things that they make, ceramics. Yeah, especially if you give them full bodies. Do they need full bodies? Yeah, in some cases you could.
I think it would help.
Maybe if they're in like a little scene together.
Yeah.
You could do them individually or in a scene together. You could break them out. You can add words. You could find a fun font if you don't do hand lettering. Like you find a couple of fonts. You could even add more color. I mean, gosh, this can go so many places. And I'm glad you showed this to us because we haven't seen character done yet. And when you do have, especially an array of like these little woodland creatures, sky's the limit. Like you can keep going. And especially in a Christmas theme, you could break this out even more. You could put them in the little ornament shapes with the little characters. You could do individual, and you could try to get an ornament deal. You know what I mean? There are so many, especially for Christmas, there's so many ways to go with this. If you know, we could talk more about that later if you want. But this is the beginning of a big collection, if that makes sense. I'm actually really excited about this one. This one gets me going. Oh, I have so many ideas for you. So this is a gift. This is a gift. Gift, paper, everything. It's super versatile. I don't know. How do you feel about it? Where did you see it going when you made it? You said gift wrap?
Yeah, wrapping paper. I made it for wrapping paper. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, it's 20 more items. So yeah, it's just so cute. It's so darn cute. It can even go on clothing, everything. I can't really think of anything it couldn't go on.
So
right?
For clothing, were you thinking like a placement?
It would be like, think of a kid's pajama set. You could have one of the characters on the shirt, and you could have the legging pants with it could be bibs. It could be a set of bibs. It could be a lot of things. I mean, it really works on anything. Sheets, oh, freaking cute would that be? Sheet set and you can make the comforter. So you think about, that's how you would design this out. So it's like, okay, I see this in a bed set. So the bed would have the comforter, the sheets, the throw pillows, and it would have could even have the shams could be different. And then, you know, I don't know if they still make those weird duster things that go on the bed, but if they do, you can think about that, the skirt. You could even, you know, they could even have a little rug that goes in front of the bed. It could be the lampshade. It could be the curtains in the room. This could be a whole room, like a Pottery Barn kids room, right? So if you were doing that, that could help you break out think how would I make the coordinates now? So what would the graphic on the front of the pillow be? Would the pillow be, or would it be just like one of the characters in a plush pillow? Would it be, or the shams, would it have embroidery on it? And, you know, maybe you make a pattern out of those leaves or out of that Christmas tree or something. It would be really fun. I love the way that Christmas tree is just made out of tick marks. You can do so much with that. Maybe, and that could be the pillow, right? And that could be embroidered, and that would be gorgeous. So what would the comforter be if this is the sheets? Or if this is the sheets, what would the comforter be? I mean, or the other way around, what would the sheets be? If you do add color to this, do you add a circle or a pop color behind them? You could change, my brain is, I'm just thinking about 5,000 things for this, right? But if you do think of a set, what would like a bed or bedding or bedroom, that might help you move forward and figure out what the next pieces look like. Okay. Or if you see it in a stationery set or in a gift dinnerware or the kids' clothing, all of that, pick one or two things and just move forward and start making those coordinates and start pulling those graphics out, add words to them, put them on a trinket dish, put them on a plate, put them on, you know, it could be a set of like little plates, like cute, adorable, right? I want all of this. It's just too super freaking cute. So, and you could keep it in a simple color palette. You could try it and with more Christmassy colors. And it could just be like a wonky circle right behind their head with like green, red here and there. You know what I mean? It doesn't even have to be like big color, you know. I love the black and white though, and it's very vintage and adore. It's so if you want to talk to me more about this, I can go on and on and on about like all my ideas because I love it. I love this. This is perfect for like a Pottery Barn Kids collection. I would say it would be like something to aim for, you know.
Okay.
But it's great. Good job. Awesome. I'm gonna end it here, you guys, because it's getting late.
Okay.
Let me get off here and stop sharing and talk to y'all. Feel free to unmute yourself, say anything. I'd love to hear anything that you learned today or that, you know, inspired you, or a question that you might have, or if you need clarity on something we talked about. Here's your chance. You could, if you want to unmute yourself, you don't have to be on camera, or I'll check the chat as well. But if you guys are good, you don't have any questions, or feel free to email me too if you think of something later. Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. Getting a lot of thank yous in the chat. Thank you. Thank you. Sure. Hopefully this was helpful. I think it's helpful to learn from others and see, you know, because everybody is at a different place and they're doing it differently. So you might see yourself in here. Oh, good. Great. I'm glad you liked it. All right, y'all. If anybody wants to talk to me, it's all good. Okay. All right. Yeah, it was fun to see everyone's work, wasn't it? I was loving it when the emails are coming in, and it's just so fun. Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Elizabeth, so much for your input. It's just great input. Oh, what does that say? Thanks. Oh, thank you, Val. That was super cute. Awesome, guys. Thanks everyone for being here, and thanks everyone for just, you know, hanging out for the last 2 hours. And there will be a replay. So once look for it in the next couple of days. Try to get it up tonight. If not, it's definitely probably by the end of the day tomorrow. Okay. And that's it. I think we're good. If you have any other suggestions for our upcoming subscriber calls, I'm always up for you know, the suggestions. I'd love to know what you want to do. So we could do this quarterly or more often if you want. And there's, you know, a million other things that we can be doing together too. So feel free to email me or DM me, let me know. Okay. All right. Have a good day. Thanks for coming. Bye, guys.